bumps and bruises from the weekend game?
We've had a couple where we're looking after lads because obviously we're light on numbers. Vicky suspended, obviously, it's a big loss. So yeah, but we should be okay. Shouldn't be too much difference.
On reflection, what did you make of the game in terms of Celtic's standard?
Yeah, we know the goals were fantastic from their point of view. We know we could have done better with them. But the standout thing for me from the game was how little both goalkeepers had to work. So whilst there was lots of good things on show, both teams defended really well as a rule. We were a little bit wasteful in possession more than we have been against a better side as well. No disrespect to the others we've faced, but it was against a better side. And they had the moments of quality which took the game away from us.
But what are the positives you took ahead of the Rangers game?
Yeah, lots of positives. So again, how little our goalkeeper had to work. 3 shots on target from them. Fia made 1 save and then the 2 unstoppable shots. So there were lots of things right, but we made ourselves have to defend a lot more than was necessary because we were cheap in turning the ball over. In lots of ways, through unforced errors, a little bit more than we like, and also through just decision making, trying to counter at every opportunity when there was times just to keep the ball, take the sting out of the game and control the tempo of the game.
Of course, the fallout from that game was around the ball thrown at the Celtic player. How concerned are you about that and the possibility of it happening again?
Yeah, you don't want to see that anywhere. It has been topical up here because there's been lots of incidents, if you like. But there was some throwing as well down in the Steel City derby down in Sheffield. The other day, it's things that you don't want to see anywhere, and we want to get a grip of it. So whilst we can appeal to people to behave themselves and be responsible, we also need to get better ways to identify people and enforce penalties and enforce bans and things like that, because you want the best possible products on the pitch and off the pitch. You want as many people as you can attending. You want to grow the sport in your country, make it an appealing not only to paying fans but TV fans as well, and part of that is behaviour and how people perceive individual teams but the league as a whole.
Have you got a message to Hibs fans ahead of this game with regards to that?
Yeah, just behave. No one wants to see it. I mean, people can get carried away. I understand that people, may have been out a few drinks before. I understand that, but there's still a way that you have to behave at a football match. And just like I speak to our players about representing the club, our fans represent the club as well, and we want to be the best football team on the pitch, as good as we possibly can be, and we want to be the best supported team off the pitch as good as we possibly can be as well.
How did the players come to you and said that they felt unsafe on the pitch, or they felt maybe under threat from stuff like this?
No, did you say have any of the players?
Have they, yeah.
No. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it can be just an acceptance that it goes off. Do you get what I mean? And there's always incidents, whether it's the throw-in, whether it's fans on the pitch after games. But as a rule, things have generally got better, and I think it's because there's been this sort of lapse in behaviour that it's been flagged up, and rightly so. And everybody should be doing all they can to stop it.
What was your first reaction when you saw the bottle being lifted off?
I didn't see it at the time. First I knew about it afterwards in the press. So I didn't see anything about during the game, weren't aware of anything. But obviously you see it afterwards, and there's always, rightly so, it's highlighted, and it is, the safety of the players is paramount. That as a footballer you should be going out there giving everything, and that should be your sole focus, to do your job and perform as well as you possibly can. Not worried every time you're going to take a throw-in or a set piece and you need the fans that something's going to happen. So yeah, we can do without it. We need to be without it, unless I think it's as a collective people have to take responsibility for it, whether that's fans in roundabout, friends if you've got a friend misbehaving, clubs to identify their own supporters possibly doing it, and sanctions imposed by whoever can impose the sanctions.
Another high profile game for you, still early days for you here, but I think you've probably had more games live on the telly than not. How are you enjoying the profile that these games and seem to get into?
Yeah, it is. Generally I'm not too sure which games have been on telly until you're doing the press before, if I'm honest, but in terms of profile of games, yeah, they're important to us. Celtic come to town in the quarter-final cup, big game. Rangers then in the league, big game. But they've all been like that for us, because obviously we were playing catch up and behind, and each of the games were really important for us. And it'll be the same between now and the end of the season. We're out of the cup, it's gone. We've worked really hard. We've won 3 out of 3 in the league, which is a great start. But the games are going to get tougher and harder, and we're fighting for the points, so that won't change until the split.
It's difficult about a grudge match between Hibs and Rangers. How difficult is it for the players to keep that intensity, that almost sort of Derby cup tie type feel to it in so many consecutive weeks?
Yeah, well, it's not in terms of, obviously the profile of the game does that and what we're fighting for. The only real thought we've been putting into it is because of our numbers, and obviously light in terms of suspensions, injuries, limited in terms of personnel we can change without significantly weakening the team. So that's a consideration for us, keeping that intensity that we want to play with, whilst keeping the players fresh enough to perform like that. And we did see a big drop off, and looking at the physical data from the Celtic game, we were above our average for 65 minutes, and there was a significant drop for 10-15 when the goals came. So that was real significant looking back at the game. But we know we'd been working the players really hard, and it'd been the same team who'd been putting in a shift in the games before.
Do you find more or less scrutiny here than you had down south when you felt at Barnsley and Leeds?
In terms of
that, in terms of us guys coming along, the amount that Hibs are on the TV, in terms of the how much build up goes into these games.
Yeah, I think probably what you're focusing on is different. It was certainly much more about the football down there, not the bottle throwing, not the fans, not the manager change around, not the. So maybe if your story focus is a little bit different. You like the drama more than the football, maybe, I don't know. But not in terms of like Leeds were on the telly all the time, I think more the angle, the more things we're talking about is what's different, really.
What have you made of Rangers so far? I'm sure you won't have had much time to have a look at them, but what's your thoughts on?
They've been good, hit a lot of form now, scoring goals. I can't imagine Stephen changing too much, but he has got the capabilities to do that if he wants, with the squad he's got and the players he's got competing for each position. But I don't think there'll be too much different in the setup and how he approaches the game, and I wouldn't have thought too much difference in personnel, but he has got the scope to do that if he wants to.
With how close it is between 5th, 6th and 7th, I think it's only 3 points between St John's behind you. Does that just add another tension to the game, that if you drop points here that St John's could sneak up? Yeah,
that's our focus, and that's why they are good games for us. That's what our focus has been. We've been chasing, and we said that before the last away game, that all of a sudden now we were in the top 6 and there were teams chasing us. That's why it was such a good win, because our mindset was different. We earned the right to be in the driving seat, if you like, get to 6th spot. And the players fought and managed to pull away and get another 3 points. So it's that sort of intensity and drive we want between now and the end of the season. You've got to fight for it, You have to earn it. Whoever does get in that top 6 will deserve it, and we want to make sure it's us.
Just from your point of view, could you have expected a much better start, obviously, with that loss, but the 3 league wins to start with?
No, that's how you want. That's what you want. But it's been the players who've done it. The players have responded really well. So we speak to them about it today, getting training, any sort of ideas they've tried to do it, and whatever they're trying and giving everything, you back them 100%. We know we're a work in progress. We know, like we say, where we are in the league in terms of standings, size of clubs, but we have to use that to our advantage and be a team that enjoys playing against the so-called bigger clubs, and also enjoying having a status of a big club ourselves when other teams come to town. So we know where we are. We've really enjoyed the start, but we know we've got to keep improving.
You said a couple of weeks ago that it was a case of dripping the information in rather than overloading the players with all this information you got to give them. Have you felt a good response from them in terms of what they're taking on board? Yeah,
and as I say, well, I was disappointed with the result when we got beat in the quarter-final of the Cup. It's always good when you watch the game back with a bit calmer mind, different perspective. And the pleasing thing is, like I say, it was so clear in terms of what we did really well and what we didn't do so well. And everyone in the building, we could all see that, the players could as well, because it's important that everyone's on the same page in terms of where we want to get to. And if we all come to the same answer, yeah, well, we did this really well, this was really strong in this performance, but we need to be better on this, and we all see it, and it's great, then your thinking's becoming aligned.